My name is Vinay Havalaj. Basically, I'm working with a company called IonIdea. So I welcome you all to the presentation and the demonstration of IonCUDOS, a curriculum design software which help you to frame the outcome-based education system for your institute. So before moving to the presentation, I just wanted to introduce about our company. So IonIdea is a company which is US based software solution company and a service company having its delivery centers in USA, Russia, India and Singapore. So IonIdea has been in the industry for more than 2 decades and serving its global clients through its high quality IT service and solution. So we are ISO 9001 and 27001 and CMMI level 3 company. So we have around 1000 plus strength globally. So moving to the products we have in IonIdea. So we are in education sector since from 5 years. So in education, Ion education platform, we have 3 components. One is IonCUDOS, which helps you to design a curriculum structure in line with the assessment planning and also attainment analysis. So and also it helps you to get this OBE, that is outcome based education platform for your institute, and also it will provide you the inputs for the NBA SAR, so which is required for to get the accreditation for your institutes. Next is IonDVS, which is a digital valuation system which helps you to evaluate the answer scripts of the students once they complete the examinations. So it will automatically take the answer scripts by scanners, and through that scanners it will scan the answer scripts and it will give you the results. So we have to allocate some of the evaluators in the system. So evaluators will be evaluating the answer scripts, and through that they will allocate the marks for the students, and based on that the results will be generated. So this is about the DVS, Ion DVS, digital valuation system. So the last one is Ion EMS, that is examination management system. So in examination management system, so we have the hall ticket generation right from the beginning, that is admission of the students, registering the course and allocating them the halls, for the examinations and generating the hall tickets. And once after the completion of the examination, whatever the results we get from DVS, that is digital valuation system, so the results will be taken in a grade format, that is the student grade cards will be generated through this EMS. So all these 3 products will work integrated, and also we can work with a discrete. So independent platform can be worked as well as integration. So these are all about the products which we have in IonIdea. So now, as we all know, today we have gathered here to discuss on the NPA part and the OBE, that is outcome based education system in India. Why it has comes into picture for the engineering institutes. So as we all know, without OBE and without accreditation, so the institutes will not be able to get some of the funds. Okay. And also the accreditation, National Board of Accreditation. So National Board of Accreditation accepts some of the conformance with OBE as well as Washington Accord requirements. So now the point comes here is, what is Washington Accord? So it's an international agreement for professional engineering academic degrees between the bodies responsible for the accreditation. So if we sign for this accreditation, then we have to get the accreditation for the institutes. So India has been signed the Washington Accord from 2014 July, and the National Board of Accreditation has made it mandatory for all the institute to get the accreditation. So because of this, all the institutes in India are going for this National Board of Accreditation, NBA, right? So this is about the why OBE in India. So next is, what are the challenges we face when it comes to an institute? So if we want to implement this OBE platform in any institute, so we will be facing most of the challenges. So like teamwork. So OBE requires teamwork. So as we will be calculating the attainments. So if we want to go for the PO, that is program outcomes attainment, so we require individual course outcomes attainment that can be achieved by individual faculties. So there it comes, every faculty has to work on the OBE. So they have to work for their course to get the attainment, and once they get the attainment of their courses, they have to contribute their attainment towards the PO attainment calculations. So in an institute, everybody has to work, right from the principal, from the HOD, as well as the faculty. So until and unless we get all the course outcomes, we cannot get this PO attainment. So this is how the teamwork has to be placed to achieve this OBE. Similarly, every faculty has to contribute their contribution towards the education system, right? So this is some of the challenges. And next we can go for the documentation efforts. So how difficult is to maintain this documentations of all the courses, all the data for one department. If we consider it as an institute, we'll be having number of departments in an institute. So those, if we consider, then documentation part will be a huge task for every faculty as well as a HOD and even for the management people. So to reduce this kind of efforts, we required some of the automation tools. So that is what we are providing. So next is a consistency of processing and Bloom's level taxonomy and the calculations. So how to maintain the consistency in all the programs, in all the departments about this Bloom's level and the calculation part. So if one department is working, let us take if one department is working on one of the process. So again, the other department will be working on the other process. So which makes the institute difficult to get some of the accreditation. So if all the departments or if all the programs follows the same consistency, if they maintain the consistency of maintaining the processes, what they follow in their institutes, that will make the management, the institute people to get some of the accreditation or some of the platforms such as OBE can be placed very easily. So maintaining of this consistency of process or the calculations will be very helpful if we have any of the tools, any of the automation tools, right? If we are doing this in a manual process, that will be very, very difficult for every program, every courses, every faculty to maintain that consistency, right? So if we place some of the automation tools, that will be very helpful for the consistency of the programs as well as department. So now we can consider the adequacy of mapping. So as we face the challenges in mapping of the POs, PEOs, CO to PO mapping, and further the mapping part has to be taken into the assessment as well as the attainment. So how we have to maintain this adequacy? So that is a huge part for every faculty to maintain it. So higher authorities will give you some of the set of POs, PEOs. Again, we have to map our courses, individual course outcomes towards the program outcomes. So based on some of the correlations, that is high, low, medium, or 1, 2, 3, what we call it as. So maintaining of that thing, mapping part for all the courses for the programs is a very hectic part for every faculty. So even if we have any of the tools, if we have any of the automation tools to map this adequacy of the mapping, then that will be very helpful. So next is a high volume of data. So maintaining, you can just imagine for one particular course, if a faculty is maintaining that course data itself will be a huge one. So if we want to achieve one program outcome, we have to collect all the data from all the programs, all the courses which are running in that program for that academic year. So you just imagine how huge data has to be maintained to achieve one particular program outcome attainment. So if we want to get the accreditation, as we all know, we have to have 3 years, 3 batch data. That means number of almost around 200 to 300, sometime it may be a 400 course data we want to have. Individual course will be having 4 to 5 COs. If we consider such kind of data, maintaining of all those data in an Excel sheet or it's a document is a very huge task. So if we have some of the automation tools in maintaining such data, then that will be very helpful to get all the attainment results in a click, where further those can be generated in the form of reports, which you can be, you can submit that for the any accreditation needs. So these are the few challenges which we have mentioned in the presentation. So you can add up your own challenges which you come across in a daily, process when you go for your teaching hours or else when you were in the institute. So how we can overcome of all these challenges? By having some of the automation tools which we are providing, that is IonCUDOS. It's a platform which will provide you to form this OBE, as well as which helps you to overcome such challenges which you come across in the institutes. So what is a curriculum management system? So what all the modules this curriculum management system has? The first thing you can see, we have curriculum design, curriculum delivery, and assessment. Whatever the design you do for your curriculum, that has to be delivered with some proper methodologies what we use, like classroom deliveries, guest lecturers. Such kind of delivery tools can be used for the delivering of your curriculum design part. Once you deliver the design part, you have to assess the courses, the topics which you have delivered. So by having some of the assessment tools, such as if we go for the internals, we'll be having some internal examinations, quiz, assignments, presentations, seminars. Such assessment tools can be conducted. And if we go for the external, we will be having the end semester examination, or else we can call it as semester examination. So through such kind of assessment tools, we can assess the students, right? So whatever we design it, we have to deliver it, which we will plan it accordingly, the delivery planning, and the same design has to be assessed with some of the proper tools and some of the methodologies. And whatever we assess the students, the results what we get has to be taken as an attainment results, and that has to be put in the implementation of your curriculum design part. So this is how it works. The design you do, the delivery you do, and the assessment you conduct, and the output you get. So all this has to be seamlessly integrated things, you have to maintain it. So to have such kind of integration thing, you have to have some of the automation tools, such as IonCUDOS. So IonCUDOS will help you to put a platform to integrate all these modules in place. So our focus, the IonCUDOS will more focus on curriculum design part. The very first thing, the important part you have to look into when it comes to a curriculum is the designing of your course planning. So how you design it, based on the design you have to deliver your curriculum as well as your course. So we focus on, you can see the whatever the dotted scope is there, we focus on this design part, but we will give you the platform to deliver it, which you can use any methodologies to design, to make the plans, and the assessment tools, whatever you can use it, you can define them. Again, we will give the platform to define the assessment tools, and based on the assessment tools you define it, assess it, you will get the outputs. Again, we will take the output of the assessment results and we will put that in the design part for the further implementation of your curriculum. So this is how the curriculum management system works. So next is mapping of outcome. As we all know, right from the beginning, right from the institutes, we will be having some of the missions and mission elements for the institutes. Again, we'll be having department vision and mission. So program, for every program, we'll be having program educational objectives. Further, the program educational objectives will be splitted into this program outcomes, and again, to achieve this program outcomes, we will be having the course outcomes. Every course will be having the course outcomes. So how we do the mapping? As I said, you can see the program educational objectives, and again we have program outcomes, whereas to achieve this program outcomes, we will be having number of courses, which each courses will be having course outcomes. Again, further, every courses will be having the topics which has the topic learning outcome. So this is how the mapping part goes on. And let's take an example of one program outcome. How we can achieve the one program outcome with a key inputs such as program outcome element and performance indicators. So we split the program outcome into outcome elements and performance indicators. As we all know, program outcome is a broader statement which will be having number of concepts in that particular statements, which covers most of the concepts in one single statement. For example, you can just look into one of the statement what we have mentioned here: student outcome, ability to design a system, ability to design a component, and process to meet some desired needs. So this is one of the PO which we have taken it for the example purpose. So we have splitted this PO statements into three components. One is ability to design a system, component, and process to meet the desire. If we take one particular component in that statement, we can see C1 and C2. These are the two components. And again, each component will be having the performance indicators. So we can call those components as a outcome element or else a competencies. So all together we can form one PO. So how we can achieve this entire statement? We cannot achieve this statement by addressing only one course. So number of semesters will be there. As if we go for the engineering, we'll be having 8 semesters. Out of 8 semesters, any one courses among one of the semesters will be addressing this particular PO, right? So if we consider those things, then many number of courses will be addressing the same POs. Further, one course may have a small concept in that particular. One course may address only a small part of the statement. You can see one course that is covered only C1, that is competency 1, and the performance indicators 1.1 and 1.2. Similarly, some of the topics will be covering only a part of that particular competencies and performance indicator. So as we all know, a course will be having number of topics, number of topic learning outcomes. So each topic learning outcomes may cover only a part of the competencies and performance indicators. Likewise, if we consider for all the courses, every course may cover a part of the PO statements, which we split them as a competencies and performance indicators, or else outcome elements and performance indicators, what we call it. So this is one of the important and major concept which we have implemented in IonCUDOS software. Now, when it comes to the workflow of the software IonCUDOS, so you can see this is the flowchart of IonCUDOS. You can see we have 4 rows. So every beginning of the row we have mentioned some of the names there: admin, chairman, program, and course owner. So this IonCUDOS is completely a role-based application. So wherein everybody with their roles has to log in into the application and they have to work on their modules. So basically in IonCUDOS we have 5 roles, right? From the administrator, we can call them as a principal of the institute, chairman, HOD of the department, we can call chairman as a HOD of the department, program owner, we can call him as a program coordinator as well. So every program, every department will be having, if we consider 2 programs, that is postgraduate and undergraduate. So for each program, they will be having the different coordinators. So what we will call them as a program owner or else program coordinator. And next we have is course owner, that is individual faculty. So every faculty has to work on their courses. So for that we have created one more role as course owner. And in between in the figure you can just see the diamond shaped boxes wherever you see them. So there the BOS member will comes into picture, that is board of studies. So wherein his role is to approve some of the statements such as program outcomes and mapping between program outcomes. Such outcomes has to be taken approval through this BOS member. So which is in higher process. So from the beginning, if we consider as an admin a role, so admin has to set some of the prerequisites such as organization details, number of departments in his institutes, number of programs, and head of the department's user details, and other details such as generic program outcomes, which is standard across the institutes, and Bloom's taxonomies, and map level weightage. So whatever we do mapping, POs to PO, CO to PO, so we have to map with some of the correlation, right? HML or else 1, 2, 3. So the weightages 1, 2, 3 will be having some of the weightages. 1, they may keep it as 40%, 2, they may give it as 60%, 3, they may give it as 80 or else 100%. So based on those weightages, we have to be calculating the attainment results. So such kind of activities, such kind of prerequisites has to be set by the admin. So next you can see the chairman, that is HOD. So HOD has to define some of the curriculums in his department for his program. So in our application, curriculum is nothing but one batch we are considering. Let's say for this year 2017 a batch gets entry, we will consider those batch as 17 to 21, the 4 years we will considering. So that particular batch will be considered as one curriculum batch, wherein we have to maintain all the data of that batch students in that curriculum, that is 17 to 21 head. So such kind of curriculum set has to be defined by the HOD, and for those curriculums they have to define the program educational objectives and program outcomes, and he has to take the approval of the BOS member, and once the approval is done we have to map it for PO to PU. So again we have to take the approval and then publish it for the next step. So as you can observe here, once the admin is done, then we are going for the HOD's role. After the HOD role, we are going for the program coordinator role. So this is like a game. Every level has to be completed first, then only you can go for the next step. That means prerequisite has to be set by the admin, then only you can go for the HOD's role. Until and unless admin defines the programs and departments, there will be no role of HOD, right? Similarly, until HOD defines a curriculum head and the program outcomes and respective things for the curriculum, so program coordinator cannot do anything in this application. Similarly, once the program owner logs in and he defines the courses, so in his particular curriculum, one particular curriculum, he will be defining all the semesters, and for every semester he will be assigning the courses, and for every course he will be assigning the course owner, faculties to handle the course and to define the course outcomes, and delivery planning has to be done by the course owners. Once the program owner does his job, then only the individual faculties can log in into the application and they can work on their individual courses by defining the course outcomes, and their delivery planning has to be done, and further assessment planning and the calculations of the attainment has to be taken care by the individual faculties. So this is how the workflow goes of this application. So now we are moving to the live demonstration of the application. So you can see this is the login page of our application. I will be logging in with the admin credentials. Once I log in, I can able to see the home page which has all the modules placed. So we can see the dashboard wherein all the notifications with related to his role. Let's say I am an admin, whatever the role, whatever the notifications, whatever the task related to me, my role will be highlighted in the dashboard saying that this is the task which you need to do. So based on the notifications, you can work on the application, right? So those notifications will be seen in the dashboard. And the configurations, as I said, admin will be having some of the configuration settings to define the department programs and further things. So those has to be done by the admin, right? So as I said, the mapping level weightage, so you can define the weightages for individual map level, high, low, medium. So once all these prerequisites is been set by the admin, so course owner, HODs can log in and they can start defining the curriculums. So some of the standards, as I said, you can see this. The program details. So these all such kind of details will be filled by the admin. So next is curriculum module. So wherein once the HOD logs in, so he cannot see this configuration part which is accessible only to the admin. Other than this configuration, HOD can be pressed all the modules, that is configuration, reports, assessment, attainment, surveys, right? So once the admin logs, chairman logs in, he has to define his users. So user details has to be filled by the HOD. That is number of faculties in his department, and the roles has to be assigned by the faculties, and the department vision and mission has to be set by the faculty, and the curriculum head. As I said, every batch we are maintaining one curriculum head, wherein all the data related to that batch has to be maintained in one particular curriculum. So once we define the curriculum head, we will be defining the program educational objectives for the curriculum and program outcomes for the curriculum. So as we know, most of the time we'll be using NBA PO standards, that is 1 to 12 as our POs for all the programs. Similarly, we have the provision to define your own program outcomes. If you want to go for the program outcomes which you want to modify the existing NBA POs, you can modify them and you can add it here. If you want to go for the ABET standards, you can go for ABET standard, that is 8 to K, and as I said, NBA 1 to 12 you can go for that. If you want to custom, you can go for the individual one. So once we define the program outcomes, we have to map them with the PEOs with some correlation. And as in the NPA SAR, they have mentioned that for every mapping we have to give some of the justifications. So that you can just give some justifications here. So once we are done with the mapping part, some of the other parts we have is like in curriculum settings, we'll be having some of the other modules to define the course domains, that is verticals, what we call, and delivery methods, how you deliver your course, the number of methods we'll be having, classroom delivery, presentation, demonstration, such kind of methods can be defined. And you can define the assessment methods. So as I said, we have number of assessment tools like internal exam, quiz, assignments, assessment, assignments, such things can be defined here. And we have the provision to define the rubrics for the assessment tools. Most of the time for some presentations, seminars, or project works, we will be defining the rubrics. We will assess those tools based on the rubrics we define and based on the criteria what we define it, right? So we have the provision to define them. So once we set some of this curriculum setting parts, we have to define the courses. Individual course has to be assigned with one of the faculties. As you can see, so we have for one particular semester we can define the number of courses, and for individual courses we have to assign some of the course owners, faculties, and some of the details has to be filled here. And even let's say one course is being handled by 2 to 3 faculties, you can assign those faculties as a course instructor for the course. Division can be maintained here, or else we can say sections. So even those can be maintained in the application. So once we define the courses, every faculty has to log in with their respective credentials, login credentials, and they can start defining their course outcomes, right? So here, while defining the course outcome, you can map the course outcome with the Bloom's level as well as the delivery methods. Once you define the course outcomes, we have to map the course outcome with the program outcomes with some correlations, that is HML or else a 1, 2, 3, and with some weightage. Here also we have provided some of the justification area wherein you can provide the justification. So why you have mapped CO1 with the PO1 with the level 1. You can give the justification. Similarly, we have, as I said, we will give you the platform to plan your courses. So based on your course content, you can add the course content like number of topics in your course, the duration you are going to take it to deliver it, and through which delivery method you are going to deliver it. And some of the other tools we have in this is you can add your lesson schedule, that is portion covered per hour, what is the delivery date and what is the actual plan date. And also you can add the textbooks and reference books, and even you can define the assignment questions as well as review questions. So such delivery planning can be made in the application with respect to your courses. So once we are done with this design part, so we have reports. So wherein whatever we have defined in a design part, those can be directly taken in the form of reports. So we are generating a number of reports. You can just look into one sample reports. If you go for this program level, course level, PO matrix, you can see for this particular curriculum, that is 13-17 batch, we'll be having number of semesters, right? So in that semester, I'll be taking 1/5 semesters. If you want to say the generate report, you can see all the mapping, all the courses and their COs and the mapping between COs to PO. So this matrix can be automatically generated by the system in a click. So you can take the export of it, and also we are providing you all the reports in the form of document, that is doc file as well as PDF file. Similarly, if we have many number of reports, in that again I want to showcase on one report, that is theory lesson plan report. So wherein every faculties, whatever they have defined, whatever they have planned for their courses, can take their course plan report here. So this is how the course plan report looks. So it will be containing of all the course plan, the details of the course, code, marks for the internal, external, COs defined for that course, mapping of course outcomes with the program outcomes, course content, chapter wise content, all the TLOs if you have defined TLOs, if you have defined lesson schedule, all those things can be captured in a one particular report, that is theory lesson plan report. So you can take it as an export to doc format. So even you can see unmapped PO reports. If any one of the POs in the curriculum left off on, you can see in this particular curriculum PO11 has not at all addressed in any of the courses, for any of the courses. So such things can be captured in the report part. Through this report part, you can work on your design part of your curriculum as well as course. Once we are done with the report part, we have assessment planning, wherein we can define some of the extracurricular and co-curricular activities for the program, such as any tournaments happens in the institutes, any paper presentations across the institutes if such kind of thing happens, and also some of the cultural activities. All those activities can be captured in the application, and you can map these activities directly to your program outcomes, and you can define the rubrics, set of rubrics for such kind of activities, because for such kind of activities the way of assessing will be your rubrics. How you define the rubrics, how you define the criteria, based on that you have to assess it. So whatever you define the rubrics, so those rubrics, those criteria has to be mapped with the POs, and they should be having some scales to assess those criteria. So this is how you can capture the extracurricular, co-curricular activities data, and also for every faculties for their respective courses, we can define the occasions. In our terminologies, occasions means the number of tools you are going to consider for the internals. Internal occasion, that is continuous internal assessment. CIA means continuous internal assessment occasions. So for your course, let's say you are conducting internal 1, test 1, class test 1, such kind of things has to be defined here. Whether the assessment type is of question paper. So because if you are conducting the class test, you will be defining the questions. So every question has to be mapped with some of the COs. So in that case, you have to define the question paper. Let's say we are conducting some of the seminars. For seminars, we will be addressing one CO that will be common for all the students. In such cases, we can directly go for individual, wherein for only one particular CO we have to upload the marks of the students, whatever the students gets, and rubrics. As I said, in extra co-curricular activities, there we will be mapping our rubrics, our criteria with the program outcomes, whereas for this internals, here you are mapping your rubrics and your criteria with your course outcome. Specific to your course outcome, we will be mapping the course outcome as well as the rubrics. So once we define this, whatever the occasions we defined there, for those things we have to define the question paper. So this is how the question paper looks. Here you can see for every question we will be mapping COs and Bloom's level, and we will be assigning the marks for that. So this is how you can define for your course, that is internal question papers. Once we define the question paper, let's say I want to analyze this question paper. What percentage of CO I have covered in this internal one, and what percentage of Bloom's level, that is L1, what percent I have covered, L2, what percent I have covered. If you want to go for that, we have question paper analysis here. So wherein you can see the percentage covered of every level in the question paper and the marks we have covered with respect to that level in the question paper. This is with respect to Bloom's level, and this is with respect to course outcomes. As you can see, for my course we have 6 COs. Out of 6 in this question paper, I have covered only 4 COs. Last CO5 and CO6 has not at all covered in the question paper. Based on this coverage analysis, you can modify your question paper, you can reframe your question paper, so wherein all the students has to get some good attainment results. So based on this analysis part, you can design your question paper. Similarly, we have to define the end semester examination. Most of the time, affiliated colleges will be not defining the question paper, as university people will be conducting the exams. They will directly get the marks of the student, that is total marks of the students out of 100, what the student A has got, what the student B has got. So no need to define the question paper, but still we have given the provision to define the question paper here. The next module is attainment. Once we are done with the assessment, once we conduct the exams, now we have to get the results. So somehow we will be getting the student marks. For affiliated colleges, internal exams will be having the, we will be having the internal marks of the students, that is student wise, question wise marks. Once we get the student wise, question wise marks, we have to upload it for the calculations of attainment. So in attainment, the first module or the entity is setting up the targets. So for every course we have to set the target. Let's say for 13-17 for 5th semester software engineering, I have set the target for my course. So this is with respect to internal and this is with respect to external. You can see CIA direct attainment percentage of students, that is level 1, level 2, level 3, and my CIA target, that is target which even HOD can give you the target, or else university people will give you the targets, or else you can analyze your previous year results. Based on that you can set the targets. So the university target will be fixed one. My first level will be 50% of the students getting 50%. Second level will be 60% of the students getting 50%. If I get 70% of the students get 50%, then my level will be high, that is 3. So similarly for the end semester examination, to set the targets. So once we set the targets, we have to upload the marks of the students. So we have something called as download import view. We have to download it. Download in the sense, IonCUDOS itself is providing you a template. So wherein the template consists of student USN, that is university number, and student wise, question wise marks. That is, you can see the student name, student USN, and for 1A question what the student A has got, 1B what the student has got. Likewise you have to enter the marks of all the students in the template, and same template has to be uploaded here. Once you uploaded it, so this is how you can see the uploaded marks of the students. So once after you upload the marks, similarly you have to upload it for the end semester examination. In end semester examination, there we are uploading a total marks of the students. As I said, if a student A has got 80%, 80 marks for the end semester exam, 80 marks will be equally distributed among all the COs. If our course is having 5 COs. All the 5 COs will be getting 80% results. So for this is how we do the end semester examination calculations, whereas internal we are uploading the question wise marks. Once after uploading the marks, this is how you can see the attainments, that is CO attainment. For individual occasions, you can see for internal 1, internal 2, internal 3, what is my attainment. You can see the attainment results of every occasions, and all together what is my attainment. So this is how you can see it. So once after getting the internal results, you can go for both. As we have already uploaded the end semester data, this is combined together, that is internal as well as external attainment of my course. So this is what my course attainment has got it for every CO, CO1, CO2, CO3, CO4, CO5. So if you can see, so we have two kinds of calculations for CO, that is threshold based attainment and average based attainment. So in the threshold based attainment, based on the target you have set it, that is 50% of the student has to get 50, 60% of the student has to get 50. Based on the target you have set it, your attainment will be shown here. Average based means considering all the attained students and divided by the maximum marks for the CO. So if you go for the drill down, there you can see weightage distribution for internals and external. So for internal, I am considering only 50% of my attainment, whatever I have got it, and through external also I am going to consider 50. It's left to the institutes what percentage of weightage has to be set for internal as well as external. So this is my actual attainment, 65% for internal and 79% for external, that is out of 100. Once I apply a weightage of 50% for the 65, my attainment is 32.50, and 50% weightage for 79, it's 39.50. Combined together, my attainment will be 72. So this is how we are calculating the CO attainment. So further, every CO, every course has to contribute their attainment for the PO calculations. How we do it? So here you can see, for my course I have 6 COs. So CO1 is contributing 75%, CO2 is contributing 87%, and similarly CO3, CO4, CO5. So as you can see, in PO attainment calculations, we are giving 3 types of calculations. One is average based, again. Second one is threshold based, whatever the threshold we set it. Even for POs, we will be setting the threshold values. And the third one is threshold based average map level weightage. That is whatever the mapping you have done, level 1, level 2, level 3, based on that mapping level weightage, we are giving you the attainment. I will be explaining the third one quickly. You can see 75% is contributed by the CO1. So it has been mapped with a level 2. That is level 2, what we have defined is 60%. That is 60% of 75 will be the CO attainment for this PO. Similarly, 60% of 87 will be this CO attainment contributing towards the PO. Combined together, divided by 2 will be my PO1 attainment by this course, which is 48.60. So this is how we provide you the number of calculations in PO attainment and the individual courses. So once we are done with the POs, you can see for all the terms, for individual terms, you can see the PO attainment, overall PO attainment, once after uploading all the data. And in this, if you want to see number of courses contributing towards this PO attainment calculations, if you go for this, here you can see 6 of the courses are contributing towards this PO calculations, right? So this is how you can just get all such kind of calculations in a click. Just you need to upload the marks of the students, internal as well as external. The system will calculate all the calculations based on the formula we have implemented, and it will give you the calculation path. Individual PO, you can see the attainments in which semester for this batch, what is the PO attainment, how progress it has been made semester wise, you can see that. And similarly, you can see the individual student CO attainment. So for one particular course, so what the student 1 has got, the attainment of the COs. So individual student attainment can be viewed here. And based on the student performance, that is below average students, above average students, based on those percentage, based on the number of students who have got below average, above average, we can have the student improvement plan for those students who are getting the below average, the target which you have set it, right? So this is all about the attainment. So wherein you can get all the attainment results in a click. And next and the final module is a survey. So wherein we have the provision of conducting the surveys, online surveys for any kind of stakeholders, irrespective of the stakeholders, whether it may be alumni surveys, employer survey, parent survey, student survey, all such kind of surveys can be conducted in the application through online itself. So wherein you have to define some of the templates. So how we want to have the responses by the stakeholders, yes or no questions, agree, disagree questions, all such kind of templates can be defined. Any number of templates can be defined here. Once you define the templates, groups can be defined here, number of groups, that is alumni, others, professional, students. So for individual stakeholders, we need to add the stakeholder list. So once we add the stakeholders list, so this is how it looks. So the number of stakeholders I have added for the particular group. So once we add the stakeholders, so we will be creating some of the templates, survey templates, that is CO, PO, PO, such kind of templates, survey templates can be created. Once we create the templates, we have to define the questionnaires. So every questionnaires has to be mapped with their respective POs. If it's a PO survey, PO exit survey, whatever we define the questionnaires, those questionnaires has to be mapped with the POs. Right? Once we are done with the definition of questionnaires for every surveys, so we have to host them. So in survey also we have two types of calculations. You can set the target. Let's say you can see I have my options as disagree, agree, fairly agree, strongly agree. So if you set fairly agree as my target, then out of 10 students, if 5 of them they have given fairly agree and strongly agree, I will be considering only those 5 students for my attainment calculations. Whereas other 5 students who have given disagree and agree, I will be neglecting them for my attainment calculations. Such kind of targets can be set for even surveys also in the application. So once you set this target, you can host the survey. So before hosting the survey, we have to select the stakeholders, and you can see the progress of the survey at what stage, how many of them they have responded, how many of them have not responded. And even for the not responded stakeholders, you can host, you can send the reminder mails for the stakeholders. Everybody will be getting the mails in their mailbox with some link. They can access that link and give the feedback and submit it. Those results will be fed back as your reports. So we have reports, so wherein the survey reports can be maintained in the application. So attainment reports for the surveys. So this is all about the survey module, and this is how I have covered almost all the modules in the application in a brief manner. So this is how the software will help you in designing and assessment and attainment and also survey. And we have implemented the NBA SAR module, so wherein you can see faculty contribution, company list, university, professional societies, such kind of placement details, student performance details, all those details can be filled here, as well as we can generate an NBA SAR report, whatever we have defined till now, including design part, assessment, as well as attainment results. Those results, those reports will be directly fed back into this NBA SAR. No need to add again the data in the NBS SAR. You can see. So I have defined my department, vision and mission. All those statements will be directly inherited here. And if you want to go for the attainment results, so for one particular curriculum, if I want to get all this reports with respect to CO outcome and program outcome, you can get all those reports here. So such kinds of reports can be generated, that is NBA SAR, entire NBA SAR can be generated through the software from 1 to 10 criterias. Whatever the data you fed in this design, this application, that will be inherited, and some of the entities, that is such as governance and institutional supports and finance, such things has to be entered by the respective person. We have given the authority to enter the data, and all the data can be taken from the software also. Almost 600 to 650 points can be covered if you enter the data in the application, and through this NBA SAR you can cover almost 6 to 650 points, as you know how important those points are for the NBA to get the NBA accreditation. So this is all about the IonCUDOS software, which helps you in placing the OBE platform for your institute, and also to get accreditation by generating the NBA SAR through the clicks of reports, getting the reports via clicks. So any queries?
Hello.
Hello.
If a student fails in a year and repeats it, how is the performance accounted for if the curriculum set is 2017 to 2021?
Yes. If come again.
If a student fails in a year and repeats it, how is his performance accounted if the curriculum is set for 2017 to 21?
So if a student fails, you mean to say a year back, as we have many concepts in one particular thing, student can fail in 1 or 2 courses, or else even he can be a year back student also. So we will be considering his performance batch wise. If he is failed in some of the courses, let's say 1 2 courses, so based on the number of students who have failed in the courses, we can plan accordingly. The course plan can be designed. If he gets an year back, if he fails more than 4 to 5 courses, we will be considering him as a year back student. So his performance will be considered till that year itself in a one batch. Later on, we will consider him in a other batch where he will be continuing his academic year again with the other batch students. So am I clear, sir?
Yeah, thank you, sir. So that is the only question. Thank you very much for the webinar.
Okay, thank you, sir.